Hello, 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 everybody. Welcome on in. Tonight is another installment of Medical Talk in Layman's Terms with Nurse Charlene. And definitely, I do feed off of people coming in and joining in onto the podcast and checking me out and everything. The purpose of the podcast tonight and every other Tuesday night at 7 p.m. is to just kind of get you guys kind of bridge that gap between us as the patients, because we're all patients in some capacity, and the medical field, and not just the medical field, but and our doctors and stuff, and being able to engage and stuff. A lot of people, cause themselves so much hurt, harm, and danger because we're not going to the doctor. We hear all these little things. You hear two negative things from your neighbor down the street, or this person died up the street or something like that. And yep, that's why I stay out of hospitals and stuff. I just stay healthy and everything. Well, healthy is a whole bunch of things. It's your mind, your body, your spirit and stuff. And how can we get healthy if we're not even trying to get in the game, if we're not even trying to learn something? So my thing is, I just want you to help me help you help yourself and your loved ones. Meaning, even if you hear and stuff, your loved ones might not be able to get on. They might not even know who I am. And that's going to all change pretty soon and everything. But in the meantime, if you're listening and stuff, that's a whole bunch of people that can now come on and listen and be involved in it and everything and stuff. So definitely, I want you guys to come on in here and see what this is all about. That it's no joke, definitely, and stuff. It's very serious. But also, I'm doing something on my phone so I can see comments and everything. But welcome on in, Rosie Granny Allen, and welcome on in, Auntie Sandra and stuff. Y'all come on in and stuff. And tonight's topic, I did not even say that because I wanted to just tell you why I'm getting on and everything. But the topic is nutritional diets, and it's part two because last week was food and nutrition. So I taught you about calories, how to read a food label. Let me see if I got one here. Nope, it doesn't have anything on there. But different you find the labels on the back of your food and stuff and different things that you eat and everything. You'll notice that it's a fun fact label. It's called the food facts label or something like that and stuff, and it tells you about calories and servings and all that good little stuff, and you're wondering, why is this on the back of my potato chips or something like that? Because now they got to tell on themselves. Now they got to snitch, and stuff like that. So now they got to tell what's going on and stuff like that. So that's where all this is coming from. So tonight on Medical Talk in Layman's Terms with Nurse Charlene, we're going to be exploring nutritional diets and a little bit of that. And if I get through it pretty good and stuff, then I might be able to give you an extra little bonus, which is something on hydration. Like, find out, what is purified water? Well, what is alkaline water? Well, what is spring water? And what is it? And stuff. I like to know too. So we're going to learn together tonight because I teach me as I teach you. Welcome on in, Miss Sandra. You said, good evening, Nurse Charlene and Rosie. Yes, Miss Rosie is on there, Rosie Granny Allen. Yes, y'all come on in and stuff and get situated and everything. And I'm going to take you on a ride. But before I do that, I need to make sure that I read my podcast disclaimer. And it goes as follows. The podcast is for informational and educational purposes only. It is not intended to replace professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always consult with your medical physician for any medical concerns. If you have questions about a medical condition, reach out to a qualified healthcare professional. Never disregard professional medical advice or delay seeking it because of something you heard on a podcast. Guest views are their own and may not reflect the views of the host or this podcast. The information shared is for general knowledge. It should not be used for any legal or medical purposes. Yep, I'm going to say it, y'all. And stuff. And that is, if you got a lawsuit, I can't help you with your lawsuit, but if you're doing it in good faith, I hope you win. Okay? And then also, always consult with a legal professional who knows your medical history for a meaningful evaluation. You want it to count. If they don't know nothing about you, it's not going to count. Don't depend on it because it's not going to happen. And stay informed, but always seek professional advice when it comes to your health. Welcome on in, Auntie Josie. She said, hello, everyone. Hope everyone is having a blessed evening. Well, I am, and I thank you. Now I know you are. Yes. Welcome on in, Cousin Tony. Yes. How you doing? Thank you for coming on. Yes. Now I feel good and stuff. I can get started. So tonight's topic is nutritional diet. So I'm going to kind of stay in that. But why do we even diet in the first place? And stuff, because that's what we're supposed to do. A diet doesn't mean diet like, oh, I got to lose me a few pounds here and there and stuff. A diet is a necessity for us. We have to eat. But if you're the diet, which for years, mine was a Coca-Cola, first thing in the morning, a Coca-Cola when everybody had coffee. I had a Coca-Cola and probably some Cheetos or some potato chips or something like that. I bet you that was the healthiest thing I could have did, for myself. Right? Yeah, no, it wasn't the healthiest thing I could do. But that's what I'm saying. Our diets are a necessity. We're supposed to be feeding this body that's got to carry me through 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100 years and everything. And if I'm trashing it all the way, from the get-go, as long as I can make a decision till now and stuff, what have I did? A disservice to my body. And guess what it's gonna do? It's gonna snitch on me. And it's gonna tell, yep, she got high blood pressure. Yep, she got diabetes. Yep, she got whatever else and stuff. Yep, she going blind. Yep, she going, because if I'm not putting the right things in there, which is my diet, then hey, I'm gonna get what I put in. Am I doing that now? No, I'm doing exactly what I'm supposed to do, or at least coming close to it and everything. So you ask, how can I be 53 years old and look like I look? That's probably because I messed around and found out. Some people know it as effed around and found out, but somehow we found out and everything and stuff. So that's where all of this comes in at. Now, I just gave y'all the unicorn of it. I'm a leap year, so I don't go by the colonizers' birthdays anyway. But anyway, we're going to go on to nutritional diets. And so I want to give you a couple because it's in layman's terms. So I have to break this down for other people that don't know what nutritional means and different things like that. So the act of nutrition is the science of how food nourishes the body, affects the growth, the metabolism, and health. Meaning, if no nutrition, no growth, no metabolism, no health, and everything, no nourishment to the body. So it'll be checking out soon if you don't take care of it. I'm just saying. And so then also diet. What is the act of a diet? The total food and drink consumed by a person influenced by culture. It might be a part of, your ethnicity, health, and medical needs. Meaning I got high blood pressure, so I need to, I need to do something about that to bring my blood pressure down. Or I got diabetes, so I need to bring my blood sugar down, or so on and so forth and everything. So then we have in the United States of America, diet is closely linked to preventing and managing chronic diseases. That's what we're on here for. It's medical talk in layman's terms. That means medical talk is everything medical. That means diabetes. That means high blood pressure. That means stroke. That means cancer. That means everything that you can think of and stuff. That's what medical needs are, and diseases and disease processes, and why we get them. Why do we have high blood pressure? Why do we have heart attacks? Why do we have strokes and everything else? Okay, so then I was gonna read on them and stuff, but I'm just gonna just do a quick little macronutrients. So we know nutrients is the science on how food nourishes us. So the larger nutrients are what we call our carbohydrates, and they give us energy. Also, proteins, and they help build us as human beings, but they also do repair of our tissues. And then also macronutrients, which means large nutrients, are fats, and how we have fat is actually not all bad, because it's actually another way of us getting energy for movement and everything, and to process, for our heart to continue to beat, for us to continue to talk and move and walk and everything else. So we do need the fat and stuff, because it actually converts to energy. But it's only after our bodies don't get enough nourishment, then we have to convert to our fat storages and stuff to give us that energy to put one foot in front of the other. So Rosetta Granny Allen said, "What's happening, everyone? God is good all the time. Good evening with Nurse Allen. So let's get it on." In Jesus' name, amen. Amen. Thank you, Rosetta Granny Allen. I love you. All right. And so then the other one is micronutrients. And that is the smaller nutrients, but they're equally important, if that makes sense. The large ones was the carbs and the proteins and the fats. And then the smaller ones are vitamins, minerals, such as iron, calcium, vitamin D. And a balanced diet is the correct proportion of nutrients, meaning on your plate, it's the correct amount of this, that, and the other, fruits, vegetables, and everything on a plate and everything. That's a balanced diet and everything. And then there's the last one that we want to stay away from, but a lot of us are this, and that's called malnutrition. And mal means away from good nutrition. Mal is like the anti good nutrition. It's against it and everything. And that's one like word of malnutrition is undernutrition. That means too little nutrition. And then there's also overnutrition. That means too much of a good thing. Like you didn't went over and beyond. And when it goes into excess, we don't need it. So we need to find a way to get rid of it. Oh, yes. Welcome on in, Mike Jefferson. He said micronutrients and macronutrients. Yes, so micronutrients are your smaller nutrients, but they're equally as important as macro, which is large nutrients and stuff. We need them all, micro and macro, but they're equally as important. So just because one is smaller, you just need it in a smaller form than you do the macro, which is the larger ones and everything, if that makes sense. Okay, so then some of the top nutritional diets, for the United States, because that's where we're at. So we can't really, go by what everybody else is eating in other countries and everything, because that'll be a rabbit hole that we'll never come out of. But One is called the Mediterranean diet. This is one of the top diets in the United States that they want everybody to be on. But it's, it's to each his own. We have so many choices and so many bad choices that it's kind of hard to just go to the basic stuff. Like, I don't want a fruit and a vegetable. I want some bubble tea. Do they put fruit in there? Well, I'll take some bubble tea with fruit in there and those little tapioca balls. I still haven't looked that up. So if anybody knows what those are and stuff, feel free to put it in the comments for me and stuff, because I want to know what those are. They even any good for us? The little boba tea and stuff like that and everything. I always talk about boba, but anyway, and stuff. So the Mediterranean diet, the definition is plant-based, high fruits, high vegetables, whole grains, legumes. I think those are some type of bean. Olive oil, moderate fish and poultry, and low in red meat. And the use of this Mediterranean diet is for heart conscious people and stuff that have cardiac problems or situations and stuff. This is one that you might want to, look into. Diabetes prevention, meaning that pre-diabetes, if you wanted to convert back to no diabetes and stuff, you might want to, look at this, take a look at it. And the longevity, giving you more years to your life, by eating healthier. It's considered one of the healthiest diets that we have available to us in the United States and everything. Then there's one, it's called the DASH diet. So that's an acronym. An acronym is like, A, B, C, D or something like that. And A stands for this and B stands for this or whatever. So a DASH diet is a dietary approach to stop hypertension. D for dietary, A for approaches, and then to stop is the S, and the H is hypertension. So this is for people with high blood pressure. Yes, like an abbreviation. Welcome on in, Pastor Carol and stuff. Yes, so exactly that. I said acronym. That doesn't sound layman's. So maybe abbreviation sounds better. Yes, welcome on in, my dear, and stuff. So for the definition of that type of diet, it focuses on low sodium, high potassium, calcium, and magnesium. Rich in fruits, vegetables, and lean proteins and whole grains. That was a mouthful, but I will be posting these after the live and everything and stuff. But I'm just giving them to you because we're in a teaching moment and everything and stuff. So those uses is hypertension is number one use of the DASH diet. Also for kidney problems, somebody has a acute kidney injury or chronic kidney problems or dialysis type situation and stuff, you might want to look at these type of this type of diet. Any type of heart disease, that means congestive heart failure, that means the coronary artery disease, which coronary is the heart, also refers to the heart, and the arteries are the big veins that feed the heart blood and nutrients and oxygen and everything to keep the heart healthy and stuff. So when I say heart disease and stuff, that's what I'm referring to. Just any type of thing that has to do with your heart, having a past heart attack, and everything, and you survived it and stuff. You want to be easy on that heart because that heart already got damaged now, and everything. So that's where that comes in at. They got another diet. It's called the keto diet. And I did, I always think of you guys when I'm doing this because I don't want it to ever be that boring and stuff. And aside from me putting glitter on my eyes and stuff so that you guys can look at me and pay attention to me and stuff, I do put stuff on the board and stuff like the keto diet and the cardiac health diet, carb control diet, no added salt diets and low fat diets and all of that stuff. And then over here, I have the food pyramid and stuff, and I'll read those off a little bit later and everything, but that's the food pyramid. And at the bottom is like the wheats and grains and stuff, but I couldn't find enough markers with the right colors and stuff, so I had a hard time. this is another one for hydration. Part of it is watermelon. Do y'all know watermelon is actually good for you? And stuff. It has so much water that it can hydrate you and stuff. Just want to let you know that and stuff. And then down here it says Diet Cola. That's the best soda on the earth, huh? I bet you it's healthy, huh? We'll talk about it later. All right. So going to that keto diet and everything. It's actually called the ketogenic diet, but it's a keto diet and stuff. And it makes sense in this aspect. The definition of it is a high fat, very low carbs, very low sugars, carbs and stuff, moderate protein, and it shifts the body into ketosis, which is where it takes the fat from your body and turns it into energy. You know, you get energy from carbs, but we're lowering the carbs so that it forces itself to find another energy source. And guess what that is? That fat around your belly and stuff. And so that's what it does and stuff, because fat is good if we can burn it off, you know, and everything. So sometimes you got to send yourself into, that's why they call it the keto diet, because it sends it into this thing called ketosis, where it looks for fat specifically to get its energy, if that makes sense. So that's why it's a good diet. And usually people use for it as far as medically, it's epilepsy. That's the seizures. It's a disorder with seizures and everything and stuff. So epilepsy management, and then short-term weight loss. If you want to, knock off some pounds quick, fast, and in a hurry, you could, get on the keto and, get on and jump off. The caution is, it's not ideal for anybody that's having heart disease or cardiac problems, but also it's kind of bad on the kidneys and everything. I'm gonna get to these comments and stuff. It's kind of bad on the kidneys, so you got to watch out for that if you got kidney disease. And then also long-term use is not that good for you and stuff. But if you need something quick, fast, and in a hurry, that's where it comes in. Or if you're epileptic, and stuff, and have a seizure disorder and stuff, this would be something that would probably steer it in your favor, as far as your nutrition. And so then I see Rosie Graniella says, I want to look into the first one you said, need more research, call me. Okay, I sure will. And then also you said, Rosie Graniella said, I love watermelon. Yes. And I'll be sure to get you some. Yeah, that sounds good. Watermelon is good because it's good for your to hydrate you. So you got watermelon, and usually if you find you a nice good sweet one, which I'm going to come on here with the lesson in how to pick a good watermelon and everything, because that was another good thing. Welcome on in, Miss Kathy. Thank you. She said, I love watermelon also, and now I want one. I know, give me one too. I heard that it's a truck on 90th in Oakland, on 90th in what is that, Bancroft, and this guy got these big old watermelons and stuff. Because remember, with watermelon, we're talking about hydration, but just a sidebar on the watermelon and stuff, you want the ones with the seeds in it, because if it doesn't grow with the seed, then how did it make itself? That might be another little topic that I might be visiting and stuff. If it don't have seeds because they're inconvenient for you to spit them out, then how did it grow and stuff? Where did it come from? Yes. Oh, so Pastor Carol said, yes, my cousin is 92 years young, and watermelon is a part of her diet. Absolutely. And actually, I had the pleasure of meeting this young lady and stuff. She was maybe about 8 months pregnant and stuff, and we were just in the doctor's office and stuff, and she was just telling me that her mother suffers from kidney stones and stuff, kind of frequently, and she can feel them coming on and stuff. And she starts, she's like, go to the store, pick me a good watermelon and stuff, and I want the one with the seeds in it. Don't give me seedless. And she said, and bring it on and stuff. And they just chop it up for her, prepare it, and get it right to her. And she starts going in, and she usually can pass her kidney stones without having to even be hospitalized, or before it gets to that good part where it starts really hurting and you feel like you're giving birth to a baby. And this could be men or women. So this is good hydration for men or women. That's why they have watermelon flavored Gatorade, because they're trying to tell you in the name of it and the flavor in it, yeah, you should be actually eating a watermelon. You should be actually eating cherries and stuff like that, because that's where it makes sense and everything. So then I want to go into plant-based, vegetarian, or vegan diets. They're all kind of plant-based, and stuff for the most part. And the definition of a plant-focused diet is with varying levels of animal product restriction. So some are strictly no animal products. That means no cheese, no types of milk, no eggs, and everything, because those come from an animal, a chicken and stuff like that, or the cow and everything and stuff. So they restrict all of it. They only have their almonds and plant-based milks and different things like that. But also, you can use these vegan diets in weight control, cancer prevention, and then reduce cardiovascular risk. So it's good for, cardiac friendly, for your heart and everything, but also weight control, for obesity meaning too much weight, and everything, where anorexia means not enough, and everything. But either way, vegetarian or vegan diets are those. And the only difference between vegetarian and vegan and so on and so forth is the restriction of animal products that they use. Like some people may use like an egg or something like that, which comes from a chicken, which makes it kind of like a meat type thing. Or no animals, but they will use a fish, or something like that. Or strictly no fish, only plants, and made up derivatives of that and everything, if that makes sense. And so there's another one, and I don't know if you've ever heard of it, but it does make sense to even think about it and stuff. And that is gluten-free diet. And what it does is it avoids gluten. That's why it's gluten-free, free of gluten, and everything and stuff. So why? Because gluten is found in the protein, and gluten is the protein that's found in wheat, rye, and barley. So it's one of the main medical uses for it is for this thing called a celiac disease. And the gluten sensitive person and stuff. And so these particular diets and stuff, they need a gluten-free diet. But what's wheat in? Wheat is in so many things that they had to get like a little small aisle inside your supermarkets with gluten-free food and stuff, so that these people that have been suffering for years now have a little area on the shelf where they can eat gluten-free things and stuff like that and still live and nourish their bodies and everything. And then they have to do a lot of supplements, which will be going into a supplementology type thing segment on here. And I'll have a guest, Mike Jefferson, on and stuff to talk about some supplements and everything, and adding these to your daily meals and stuff like that, so that you're getting your required amount of fruits and vegetables a day, and also the different proteins and everything. And what do they mean? And what is probiotic? What is prebiotic? What is all that microbiome inside your gut and everything, and what does that really mean? But breaking it down into layman's terms so that everybody gets a little taste of this and everybody gets a nugget, if that makes sense and everything. So then Let me see. Sandra says watermelon is sweet but good. How much can you eat if you're a diabetic? Well, that's a good question. If you're gonna do a watermelon or eat a lot of watermelon even on each, serving of food that you eat and stuff like that, you just gotta make sure that you take something off because watermelon is sweet, but it's a natural sweetener, so it's not as poisonous and it's quicker to go to your energy area and stuff and give you energy than it is to have watermelon Jolly Rancher, or something like that, and stuff. We know it don't have no watermelon in it, but I bet you got a whole bunch of little surprises in there and stuff like that. But that's where that comes from. So natural fruit is the if you're gonna have sugar, get it from the natural, get it from the apples, get it from the oranges, get it from the bananas and different things like that. That's good sugar. The bad sugar is banana soda or orange soda, Fanta, one of these, different things and stuff. It's not what sugar you bring in as a diabetic, it's how you're getting your sugar. Are you getting it from a natural resource or are you getting it from a poisonous resource? So I'll be talking about that really soon and stuff, but definitely good question, Sandra, and I appreciate that. And so, disorders related to diets and everything. So if you're anybody that's been stricken with type 1 or type 2 diabetes, 1 being the one that you get usually juvenile diabetes, they used to call it, but now it's kind of coming on a little bit later than that, but it's still diabetes and everything. And for that, it focuses on control of your blood sugar. So what you want is low glycemic index foods, which are your whole grains and legumes. And then also limit refined carbs and sugary drinks. Okay. And then also balanced proteins and healthy fats. There's a such thing as healthy fats because healthy fats give you good energy, and stuff, but in excess, everything is going to be wrong for you. So yes, if you like apples and they're nice and sweet, or you like grapes and they're nice and sweet and everything and stuff, yeah, maybe about 5 or 10, maybe or something like that. But if you find yourself eating a whole pack and then you got to go back and get some more and stuff like that, how many are you really bringing in? And what is it going to do? Yes, it's going to raise your blood sugar. So everything in moderation is good. But if it's not in moderation, then it's not good. Welcome on in, Mr. Buckner and stuff. Welcome on in. That's my father, y'all. And so he said, how much watermelon can you eat if you're diabetic in one sitting? Don't eat the whole thing. But probably maybe a nice quarter chunk. It depends on how big, because I'm telling you to go for the watermelons that are seeded. Take the time to spit those seeds out. That means that it came from the ground. It grew from a seed and turned into a watermelon. I don't know what the other ones are doing and stuff. I'm going to look that up and everything and stuff. But for right now, we need to go back to buying seeded watermelons with the little black seeds, and sometimes they have a little white one here and there and stuff like that. Go to those and stuff. First of all, they're the sweetest anyway and stuff, and yeah, you got to spit out a whole bunch of little seeds and stuff like that, but they're still sweet. They're very healthy, and it's a natural sugar. So just refrain on whatever else you eat, watching the sugar on that, so that you can get 1 or 2 slices in one sitting and everything. But I wouldn't go further than about 2 slices, and everything, because it is doing something. It might be giving you a little bit of sugar, but it's also giving you that water, that hydration. So on these hot days and you already sweating and stuff, you winning, and everything. So if that makes sense, yes, that's where I look at it with that. And then also, if you want to have a diet on weight loss and everything and stuff, a good diet for weight loss would be, the goal is calorie deficient, meaning sugar, low carbs, but nutritionally adequate. So you want low carbs and stuff like a keto or Atkins diet and stuff, but you want low fats. And also everybody sleeps on this and stuff. A lot of church people, we do that, we do that fasting and praying and everything, and that's one way of fasting and stuff, but there, that's fasting for something different than a diet. Intermittent fasting, when they talk about that, it's not called intermittent, starve myself. No, you gotta find a way to pull that discipline out of yourself and stuff to be able to fast and stuff. And you could start by just doing, of course, your overnight. So that means not getting up and eating a full course meal in the middle of the night when it's your sleeping hours, but also when you get up in the morning and everything, just drinking water, and with your medicines and everything. If you have to take medicines that need something on the stomach and stuff, then this might not be your fasting time and everything. But if you are trying to do that anyway, and you do have diabetes or anything like that and stuff, do it for a certain amount of hours and train your body, train your stomach. Your stomach can actually be trained to do what you want it to do and everything, but you got to have the discipline mentally and the mindset mentally to do that and stuff. So if that makes sense, then yes, that's what you can do. Then also, the risk of a weight loss diet is nutrient deficiency. I'm just not gonna eat nothing. I bet y'all lose weight that way. Yeah, and you'll be malnutrition too. You'll be big still and malnutrition. So that's not the way to lose the weight, because also it can cause yo-yo dieting. Oh, I didn't starve myself, did that, the intermittent fasting they talking about and everything. Oh, Mike Jefferson said, me and the boys eat the seeds. Yep, and let me kill this myth. If you eat the actual seeds to a watermelon and stuff, the watermelon don't grow in your stomach and stuff. It ain't enough dirt and all of that. And your stomach is acid. So it don't have no dirt in there where you get to the seed go down your throat into your belly and then it grow a watermelon in there. There's no such thing. But people have thought it. I thought of that. I thought it was like that, but that's not true and stuff. So just wanted to make sure I put that out there. And then cousin Tony said, yes, that's right. Yes. What I was saying about that, the yo-yo diets and stuff like that. Just remember, if you diet wrong, it was a waste of your time and everything, because if you diet, oh, I'm gonna starve on this and starve on that, I bet you I'm gonna have me a big old giant dinner, and then you just threw it out the window. Now you eating, instead of that, 2 pieces of chicken and a little bit of vegetables and a mashed potato or something like that and stuff. Now you eating 4 pieces of chicken. You going back for seconds, maybe thirds, maybe fourths or something like that and stuff. So that's crazy, and stuff. But you got to know how to do it within reason. So Mike Jefferson said, simply put, people with diabetes can enjoy about 1 cup of diced watermelon at a time. About a cup, you guys, and of diced watermelon at a time, which is about 1 small wedge or 2 to 3 thin slices. Then portion has roughly 9 to 11 grams of natural sugar. And remember what I was telling you about natural sugar. If you're going to take the sugar hit, at least take it with some quality sugar instead of the poisonous sugar that we all got out there because everybody wants their way, and stuff. And it says, while watermelon fans, while watermelon has a high glycemic index, the amount in the serving is small enough that it likely won't cause your blood sugar to spike. Just keep portions moderate and enjoy occasionally. That sounds good. I think we could do that. Yes. And then Mike Jefferson also said, did you know the watermelon seeds have protein, healthy fats, magnesium, iron, and zinc? Oh, y'all hear that? Don't spit your watermelon seeds out. Don't spit the watermelon seeds out, because they actually have, and he researches for me. So this is one of my little King Kong researchers and stuff. But he said the watermelon seeds actually have protein. Listen to this. This is a nugget for everybody. Protein, healthy fats, magnesium, iron, and zinc. We need zinc for healing. We need iron for our blood and everything. And that helps us not feel blah. We need our magnesium. It's just as important as potassium. And healthy fats. You know, if you want to put some fat in your body and stuff, make it a healthy fat, you know, and everything. So nobody said that you can never have fat. That they say low fats, but they mean healthy fats, because healthy fats can convert easier to energy for you. So that actually is helping and aiding and saving your life. So if that makes sense and stuff, then that's where we're at. Eat the watermelon seeds. I'm going to start crunching on something right away. I'll tell you and stuff. Welcome on in, Miss Kiki. You said, hey, I've been eating watermelon, yellow and red. Absolutely. Oh, I didn't tell you guys about that and stuff. I had the privilege this summer. I don't know if they still have them out there, but I had the privilege of being able to eat yellow watermelon for about a month back and everything and stuff. And they are wonderful. Oh my goodness and stuff. It's so sweet and crunchy. It looked like it's kind of wilted and be withered, but yeah, it's delicious. Listen to Rosie Granny saying, yes, yes, yes. Teach, teach, teach. That's right. Pastor Carol said, they said the whole watermelon is good for you. I know, even the rind, nobody likes the rind. It doesn't have a flavor, but it's actually good for you. And the number one thing, and the reason why I even brought up a watermelon and put a watermelon right there, is because of the hydration. And I wanted to give you a little nugget on hydration pretty soon and stuff. We'll see how far I get on it and everything. But yes, that's amazing. And everything. There's other disorders and stuff that I'm not going to go into, but I just want to mention them. And one is called anorexia nervosa, and that's a psychiatric disorder. So it's psychiatric, and it's self-starvation, distorted body image, you know, and their diet needs to be supervised, and they need to eat and you know, kind of start small and you know, kind of level up, you know, on their diets and so that they put the pounds on without killing themselves, putting it back on after starving, you know, and doing this. And remember, I said psychiatric. And also there's another one called bulimia nervosa, and that's binge eating and then purging. Binge eating, so eating everything, just ridiculous amounts of food, and then sticking your finger down your throat and throwing it up. It's also a psych disorder. So these are not just natural things that just come around and stuff. These are psych ones, but I want to, you know, it wouldn't be right to just leave them out, you know, just in case, because you never know and stuff. We got to watch our teenagers, you know, especially teenage girls and stuff that don't want to get fat because, you know, fat is talked about, or, you know, or overweight and is talked about and everything. And that's where this comes in and everything, just watching that. But remember, it is a psychiatric disorder, anorexia nervosa and bulimia nervosa and everything. And then the cure to that is just supervised eating and starting small and working your way up and stuff. And you know, of course, stopping that behavior of starvation or eating so much and then purging by, you know, sticking your finger down your throat and throwing it back up. So that's the big deal and stuff. So I wanted to talk quickly about processed foods versus natural foods. So I just wanted to tell you what it is and stuff, not teach on it really, but just telling you. Processed food, when they say processed food, I hate processed food, like a Kraft cheese, that American cheese in a little package and stuff. That's processed cheese. That's not real dairy cheese and everything. And this is what it is: chemically altered food, for preservation and flavor. You will find processed foods to be canned meats like your tunas and those what they have, like the deviled ham and stuff like that. That packaged meat in those cans and stuff like that, or in those little Ziploc things now and stuff. Packaged snacks, Lunchables, you guys. Hey, ain't y'all healthy? I got my baby some Lunchables. It's packaged snacks and frozen meals. Oh, my TV dinner, that's not really a steak. It's a steakum. Yeah, exactly. And stuff. That TV dinner with that little fried chicken and some little corn from hell and all of that stuff, and mashed potatoes that taste like the box and not the potato, and everything that it came out of. Yep. Those are all processed foods and everything. And those frozen meals and stuff like that. TV dinners and stuff. They are not real balanced meals. So natural foods, you guys, natural, minimal alteration. That's your fresh fruits, your fresh vegetables, your whole grains, and they provide more vitamins, fiber, and antioxidants for us, for our skin, and for that glow and everything and stuff like that. And then sugar versus sugar substitute. So you see why I'm going through this, because what is a processed food? I don't know what that is. That what is the other one? Beef jerky, those little sticks with the little cheese and a little stick on. Yeah, it's special. Auntie Josie said, what is the best cheese? Anything natural that has real milk in it and and stuff, that's made by the actual cow and stuff. That's gonna be your more natural cheeses, aged cheese and stuff like that, in moderation. So I didn't say go out and get a whole hunk of it and stuff. Not to you, Josie, but I didn't say go out and get a whole hunk of it and eat it and stuff. But you want the most natural of them. Kiki said, I bought a cantaloupe that scared me. I cut it open and never smelled it. No one could tell it was. Oh, wow. No one could tell it was in the room. I threw it out. I threw whatever it was away. Yes, that is very important. I was sit up there. I was saying that about the watermelon and the seeds and stuff, and what is a seedless one and everything and stuff. But we gotta watch all our fruits. They're supposed to have seeds in. An apple always had those little seeds in it. A real lemon, if you cut open a lemon and it don't smell like lemon and it don't have no seeds in it, where did it come from? So I think I'm gonna do a topic. It's gonna be called "Where Did It Come From?" And I'm gonna just hit up all types of stuff and just really pay attention to that, because we're being bamboozled, and stuff. I don't want to be conspiracy theoried and everything and stuff, but I am going to go down a rabbit hole of what are we eating, and stuff. This is important. Like my sister Kiki said, she cut open a cantaloupe and you couldn't even smell it. You're supposed to be able to smell a cantaloupe, a honeydew melon. You're supposed to be able to smell a watermelon from a mile away and stuff. If you cut one open and it don't even have a scent, I mean, yeah, if it's spoiled or something, it better have a scent of stinking. But I'm talking about a fresh cantaloupe or fresh a pineapple or something like that. If they don't have a smell to them, you know how dangerous that is. You just saved your life. You just saved your life. And actually, the fruit snitched on itself by not smelling like what it's supposed to be. Then what are you? You must be an imposter. Where did they grow you at? And stuff. No smell at all and stuff. Yeah, that's ridiculous. Thank you for letting us know that. So anytime you get some fruit and you cut it open and strawberries don't stink like strawberries, the broccoli don't smell like broccoli and stuff, yeah, don't eat it. Don't eat it. Or eat it and would I say mess around and find out? Yeah, that would be the closest thing I can say without cussing and stuff. No smell. I would run. I would run for the border and everything. So then I want to talk about sugars versus sugar substitute. So we got sugar. Sugar is also called sucrose. It provides quick energy, but excessive use leads to obesity, diabetes, and cavities. Don't we need our teeth to chew the food so that we can eat it and swallow it and digest it? Yeah. If you don't have these little chompers, yeah, yes, we got to go with the dentures and everything. And I'm sure everybody is going to eventually have to, or most people or some, if they don't catch it early and stuff like that, especially even our kids coming up, they're going to be losing their teeth because there's so much stuff out there and it's fun. They make food fun. So then nobody's looking at the calories and everything and stuff. But the weird part about that is, yeah, sugar only, it says sugar is not bad for you. Fats are not bad for you. Different salts are not bad for you and everything because we need all of that to function. Guess what's bad for you? Eating too much of it. Me too. Yeah, I'm learning too. Yeah, okay. And so I'm trying to say that eating too much of it, anything in excess is a problem. It's gonna give us excess high blood pressure, excess diabetes, and all the strings attached to those things and stuff like that. It's gonna give us all these problems because we're eating too much. We gotta try to learn how to develop that stop button, and it starts with a mindset. It starts with habits, daily habits. Yes, Michael Jefferson Jr. and stuff. Yes, it starts with habits and stuff. Daily habits and everything to make the world go round. Because they never said never ever eat sugar, never ever eat this, and stuff. Eat it in moderation and situational. How much you eat and everything. But if you put a whole watermelon in front of you, you're going to get what a whole watermelon causes. A whole cantaloupe with no smell, you're going to get what it causes, and so on and so forth. Thank you guys and stuff. That's wonderful and stuff. Artificial sweeteners. Yeah, I got my little Diet Coke. That Diet Coke right there. Yeah, I'm tight. Yeah. And so let's hear what that consists of. Natural sweeteners. No, I want to go to artificial sweeteners. I'm sorry. Artificial sweeteners, that's aspartame, sucralose, saccharin, what is it? Equals, Splendia. Did I put Splendida? Splenda, stevia, and all those other ones and stuff like that. And they're low calorie, safe in moderation. So even the low calorie, safe in moderation. So because it only got 20 on the bottle, it say 20 calories on the bottle and stuff, I'm going to drink 20 of them. Yeah, 20, 40, 60, 81, 20, 40, 60, 82. Yeah, you're not going to drink 20 of them unless you want to probably die and stuff, and everything. But I'm saying all of that to say, just because it says little calories doesn't mean that it's always the best thing to consume a lot of. Well, I can drink 2 Cokes because I'm drinking Diet Coke. I'm not drinking that regular sugary mess. I'm drinking the other kind. It still got calories. And if you don't do it in moderation, then it becomes unsafe. So, and then overuse of it, like I got to have me a Diet Coke with all my meals and stuff because I like soda and stuff. And it's diet, so it ain't going to do nothing and everything. Guess what? Overuse may alter your gut bacteria, your second brain, and jack you all up in the gut and your intestines and everything. And then guess what? You get sugar cravings. So now you're mass eating food. Then you just try to save your life by drinking a diet, because it's less sugar. But then you overuse of using a good thing, so-called good thing, means that now you hungrier than all hell, and stuff. So that means you're gonna eat double what you would have normally ate, because it causes a sugar craving if you drink it in excess, and everything. So whatever that looks like and everything. Auntie Josie said it's Splenda good for you because I don't use sugar because of my diabetes. Well, yes, and in the case of diabetes and stuff, Splendas and Equals and stuff, they're some of the first lines out there, and stuff as far as the sugar. People caught on to Equal having that aftertaste. I don't know if you've ever had a regular soda and then had a soda that's diet and stuff. That aftertaste, it's something that you got to get used to, but also not even just getting used to it, but you got to still do it in moderation, because anything in excess is going to cause a problem. It doesn't matter if it's a substitute for the real thing, it's still going to cause the problem. You might as well have had the regular sugar in the first place, and everything. And we know the regular sugar in the first place was no good for you and stuff. So, even the substitute, if you don't use that in moderation, you're gonna mess around and find out, pretty much, and stuff. So yes, I use Splenda with your best friend Miss Rosie here and stuff. So that's one of the ones I'm using, and I'm experimenting with stevia and a couple other kind of sugar substitutes, that give you the taste without all the calories. Because I don't know if you found out by, if you ever use regular sugar, it does put a lot. You got to use so much to get to that sweet spot, literally sweet spot. Mike Jefferson said, hey, don't worry at all about your cantaloupe not having a smell. There's nothing to be afraid of. It's not spoiled or bad. It just means it's unique. Unique. Usually it's totally safe to eat. It just won't be very sweet or juicy yet. Okay, and you can try to ripen it a couple of days. If that doesn't help, it's because it will as picked way too early. Oh, okay. And it should soften up and start to develop that classic sweet smell that we're used to and everything. I hope that helped. Yes, thank you, Mike Jefferson. So I'm gonna put that on the board and stuff. So what he's saying about that, Kiki, if you're still listening and stuff, what he's saying about that that cantaloupe, it was picked before it was ripe, and so that's what it was. Oh, it never ripened. Oh, so by the time you cut it open, it never, or it never even tried to ripe, even after you kept it a couple days, or I'm not sure how that went and stuff. But Mike said that for Kiki and stuff, that it probably wasn't a bad cantaloupe. It was probably picked way too early, so it might take a while. What you said? Oh, you did. Oh, yes, you did try waiting before cutting it open and stuff, and it still didn't have. So it was just picked. It came off. I call it mama's tit too early or something. It came off the vine too early and stuff, and so it just probably never had a chance and everything. So that makes sense. Definitely and stuff, but I see where you're going with that and stuff. Oh, you waited 1 week, so yeah, if you waited 1 week and stuff, yeah, that's probably enough time to know if it was going to turn good or bad. And if it didn't, then yeah, you did the right thing, because I'd rather be safe than sorry. Because what if you ate it and then because of your mind or something like that and stuff, it made your stomach hurt or something like that. Like I just ate a poison. I don't know why it tastes like this. It don't have no flavor, no smell, or no color even. I wonder if it was white, Kiki, instead of peach colored. Also, if it's cold, it could make the aroma less apparent. Oh yeah, if it's cold or maybe even they pre-froze it, before shipping it out and stuff to the store, and then you pick that one up and stuff because it looked good on the outside, and then it's a lot of factors and stuff in that. But yeah, I would have probably tried to throw it away too and stuff because I threw away many watermelons, seedless, with no flavor and no taste, and they sat up here and they should have ripened and they didn't and stuff. Yeah, that's weird and stuff, but definitely something to look out for. Absolutely. Thank you guys. I like that going back and forth and stuff. They got natural sugar substitutes like stevia, monk fruit. Mike, you mentioned that honey, and they're plant derived, fewer calories, healthier when used sparingly. So everything in moderation is a good thing and stuff. And so common chemicals that are in our foods, preservatives is number one. That will be your sodium nitrate or nitrite, BHA, BHT, and they got to put these on the back of in your ingredients on your food label and stuff like that, food facts label and stuff. So if you see that, yeah, I would consider, am I really doing the right thing? Then also flavor enhancers like MSG. They used to say that it came in Asian style food like the fried rice and stuff like that. It's called MSG. And then a lot of drinks that we think are good and stuff like that, like fruit juices that claim to be fruit juices and stuff like that and stuff. Artificial colors like red 40 and yellow 5 and stuff. Those are things to make the look of it more inviting for you to want to drink it. And then it's sitting in a nice little refrigerator, ice cold and stuff. That's where that comes in at. And then, of course, the sweeteners. These are chemicals now. Mind you, I'm reading off chemicals and stuff. And that's aspartame and sucralose and HFCS and stuff. Some type of added thing to help preserve things. They're sweeteners and stuff. Emulsifiers, if you've ever heard of that. And that's the soy lectin and polysorbate 80. I know you heard that name before, polysorbate 80, and stuff. It was on a commercial on some juice or something like that and everything. But excessive intake of anything are linked to allergies, gut disruption, jacking up your gut, jacking up your gastrointestinal system, jacking up how you do number two, and different things like that and everything. So just I'm going to end it with some myth versus facts and everything. And then I'll come back with probably a part 3 and stuff just to make sure we get through this okay and stuff. And that is myths. Carbs are bad for you. Well, that's an untruth because the fact is whole grains, fruits, and vegetables provide essential nutrients and fiber. And they have all these things in them. They do have these things in them. And carbs are not bad for you. Carbs in excess are bad for you. Myth. High protein diets damage kidneys in healthy people. Fact. They're safe unless pre-existing kidney disease is noted. So if you already have kidney disease and stuff, then yes, a protein will probably damage it. And will damage, your already damaged kidneys. Kiki said the seeds look like spider webs and white mold on the outer side. After a week, it was still hard without smell and no juice. Yeah, that was a bad one. You dodged the bullet, period, and stuff. There's no other way to explain that, Miss Kiki, and stuff. That was just a bad one. Anytime you guys are going to the store, sniff the skin of the actual fruit that you're going to be putting in your basket to feed your family and stuff. When you cut it open, that thing better should have seeds. Almost everything that you have should have some seeds that you scoop out and everything. But also look at the flesh. Look at the watermelon. Is it nice and red? Is it crisp and juicy and stuff like that? Or is it dried up and kind of mushy or something like that? Because that depends on the picking also, and how ripe it is and how ripe it's not, and stuff. But also a cantaloupe should have that nice peach to dark orange kind of color to it. If it doesn't, that should be a problem or a warning sign and everything. But no smell, funny looking spidery seeds and stuff. Yeah, you dodged the bullet and stuff, but that's good because you're not gonna put something in your body that doesn't seem safe or doesn't seem necessary and everything. So definitely that. Another one is a myth. Gluten-free diet is healthier for everyone. And the fact is only necessary for a celiac or gluten sensitivity type person. If you're sensitive to gluten and your doctor then did an allergy test and found out that and stuff, gluten-free diet is the thing for you. Everybody else, stay away and find another diet to get on and everything. Kiki says, if the fly's not on it, I don't want it. That's right. Because the flies, they only attracted to the stuff we want to eat. At the barbecue, why the fly be flying, trying to jump on your food and stuff like that. Because they want the good part of the meat. They don't want the stuff you throw in the garbage. They want the good stuff just like you. And so it's just that they land special places, like boo-boo and stuff like that. So we don't want that. That's why they land on your boo-boo, because it probably was some good food that got digested or something like that and stuff. That's why they land on poop and everything. So yeah, that was cute, Kiki and stuff. And then Miss, fat makes you fat. Fat. Healthy fat like olive oil, avocado oils are essential. Excess calories cause the weight gain. So you don't get fat because you ate fat stuff. Because if you eat healthy fats, you're good and stuff. But it's the other, and everything. Yeah, if fruit flies don't land on the Kiki, that's funny. If fruit flies don't land on it, then it must not be a fruit. So look, they like, I can't even smell it, so I ain't landing on that and stuff. Find me something else in your refrigerator, or let me go in there myself and fly around. But yeah, so I'm just gonna go to the take home message and stuff, and then hopefully I don't lose everybody and stuff. But yes, the take home message. There's no one size fits all diet. Tailor it to your health condition, culture, and lifestyle. Diets must be tailored to diabetes or celiac or cancer. It's never a one size fits all. Whole, minimally processed foods form the foundation of good nutrition. Balance, moderation, and variety are key to a good diet. Diet is both prevention and treatment in many chronic conditions. Work with the healthcare professionals for medical diets, such as for diabetes, for celiac disease, for kidney disease, and eating disorders and everything. So then there's nutrition equals the science of how food affects health, growth, and disease prevention. Your diet is the sum of foods and drinks consumed by a person. And the importance of it is proper diet can prevent or manage chronic diseases, improve quality of life, and extend life, your lifespan and everything. Our goal today: explore diets, disorders, myths, foods, and processing chemicals, sugar substitutes, and practical take home lessons and everything. Explore, get out there and find out what's the best one. There's always a better one. Like Equal might not work for you, Splenda might not work for you, Stevia might not work for you, but there's also another one. They're developing them because we are picky, and stuff. So we got to keep on going with this. We got to keep on and everything. But they're out there. These scientists are out here, and they're working hard to come up with the next best thing for you. And some of them are coming up with real good stuff that will help us prolong our life and cause us to live much longer than other people who never had the experience or had the wherewithal to speak up for themselves. Yes, Kiki, she said, thanks, Nurse Charlene. Thank you for just going in and out and interacting. This helps me teach better. This helps other people that's on there. You might have told the experience or asked a question that somebody else might be afraid of, but now they get to get the answer, and stuff on live or even after, because when I'm done and everything, I'll definitely come back on and read the comments and stuff, and then make appropriate answers for you and stuff. So definitely, hey, we're gonna do this and stuff. And I'm, like I said, I'm on Tuesdays, every Tuesday, unless there's a scheduling conflict. I'm on every Tuesday at 7 p.m. And I'm trying to get a little bit better about advertising before the next week comes and stuff, so that I can, pick up the pace. More people need to know about this. Nobody's really doing it and stuff. So I'm going to be the one that trailblazes this, part of it, that with good information, sound information, because I won't put it on unless I research it, unless I look this up and, check this out and everything and vetted it out and stuff, because I don't want to give you garbage. I want to give you the good stuff, or I shouldn't be on and everything. So that you can count on and everything. And also looking for people that have the good ideals. I need you to message me and stuff. And I'm going to start checking my messenger. I'm really bad at that, but I'm going to start checking my messenger and stuff. But go ahead and message me different topics and stuff that you want to hear. It might not come on the very next week and everything and stuff, but just know that I'm looking it up and stuff. And I'll even call it out and stuff as I look it up and get it prepared and everything, so that I can teach it to you, in good faith and everything. So thank you, Kiki and Josie and Kathy and Mike Jr. and Sandra, and who else was on here? It was a few other. If I didn't call, and cousin Tony and stuff. If I didn't call your name, I still love you the same and everything. But you guys are great, and I love the interaction and stuff, because it helps other people to not feel so shy to come on and say something and everything. I had to get out of my shyness. I get nervous and stuff like that too, but I got out of it because I felt like the greater good is to teach you. And so my thing is, your body's a snitch. Believe it. Never think that, oh, that headache, it'll just go away. If it's a month, you probably want to pay attention. That foot ache, even that little baby toe and stuff. Oh, it's nothing. That's my baby toe and stuff. Maybe I just wear some bigger shoes or something like that. No, pay attention. When it turned black, is you going to pay attention? Well, what if you caught it when it was only red, and stuff like that. So I'm saying all of this to say I'm here for a reason. I'm here to do what the man upstairs told me to do. And that was go ahead, reach them and teach them and everything in layman's terms, so that everybody has a chance to get something out of it. And I thank you guys. I see Rosie said I have to go. So with that being said, well done, Nurse Charlene. Awesome, great information, much much love always. Yes, thank you, Miss Rosie Granny Allen. And water. You need some water. Oh, drink your water. Okay. Hopefully it's drink your water. And then Auntie Josie said, thank you for all the information. It was very helpful. I appreciate that. Thank you for listening and joining in and everything. And thank you for your comments. And then Sandra said, well said, Granny Rosie. Very good. Have a great night. Good to see you. See you next Tuesday. See you next Tuesday, people and stuff. Thank you all. I appreciate you and everybody that come on and take a little time out their evening to get on here with me on Medical Talk in Layman's Terms with Nurse Charlene. And after the live is over, just look for through the comments and everything. Oh, my dad, Mr. Buckner and stuff, Jerry Buckner and stuff. Good job coming on in and stuff, talking to your daughter and everything and stuff. I appreciate everybody that came on and everybody that just even watched and stuff. You guys take care. Pastor Carol, I remember that. And anybody else, if I missed you, I didn't really miss you and stuff. And I'll make sure I acknowledge your comments. All right. Well, you guys take care. And remember, your body is a snitch. Believe it. All right. Yeah.